The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Good morning, Hoop Ballers, and welcome to another edition of Hoop Ball's DFS Today. This is your Tuesday, May the 4th be with you edition. I am your host, Santino Cacone, and I am with my main man, Will Harris. How you doing today, Will?
What's going on, Santino? I'm doing pretty good other than, being eliminated from my fantasy playoffs, but, I'm doing pretty good.
I feel you there. Tough year with a bunch of injuries, but
True.
Untimely injuries for a lot of people as well. Man. And we got a nice 7-gamer here today. Hopefully it'll be a quicker one of the quicker variety. But before we get into that, I do want to give a quick shout out over to our guys at MyBookie, simply the best sports book around. If you didn't get in on the Kentucky Derby action, you can get in on all types of action here. We have the NBA playoffs right around the corner. In less than 2 weeks, we have the play-in games and then the playoffs. MLB is in the midst of their season right now. NHL is heating up. MMA all the time. And a fully fledged casino platform. So there's always some stuff to do over there on MyBookie. And if you want to get your first deposit matched halfway up to $1,000, just enter the promo code HoopBall upon signing up. But yeah, man, we have a 7-game slate. Before we get into it, is there anything else you want to say besides your dwindling fantasy prospects?
I mean, you could admit that your team lost too. I mean, come on, don't just leave me out there.
I know my team lost too. I didn't. The untimely injuries didn't come. I didn't get the people back I thought I was going to get back. Just very sad. And you and I both, we were 1-2 in the season too, which is stinks. But here we are, semifinals losses.
All right, kick off the show as we're depressed enough already.
Yep, let's kick it off. We're depressed now. All right, man. The first game on the docket is the Phoenix Suns at the Cleveland Cavaliers. This game kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have 2 at 7, 1 at 7:30, 3 at 8, and a late one at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Suns and the Cavs are both on the front end of a back-to-back. The spread for this game, we do not have one as of yet, but we do have an injury report. On the Cavs side, we have Matthew Dellavedova, Darius Garland, Isaiah Hartenstein, Larry Nance Jr., Taurean Prince, Lamar Stevens, Dylan Windler, all out. On the Phoenix Suns, we have Jay Crowder, Abdel Nader, both out, and Cam Payne as questionable. We'll start with the Suns because they are the away team on this one. But who are you looking at here in this not so tightly contested matchup?
Right, you have a couple of options for Phoenix, in my opinion. You always can look at Devin Booker, but I think he reached his ceiling last game where he had 32 points, 6 assists. That equaled 47 DraftKings points for him. So other than that game, for the most part, he's been scoring in the low 40s or high 30s. So, I mean, it's easy to avoid him if you'd like to in this game. Because also it could be a blowout either way. So 8,200 is a decent price, but you don't have to force it. I like CP3 at 7,700 just because of that price point and what he can do. Mikal Bridges at 5,500 should be a good play, especially with Jay Crowder out. He should be able to put up some easy production against this Cleveland team. If you want to look for sleepers, I think you can look at Torrey Craig. He's only at 3,800, and his last game he had 40 DraftKings points. I wouldn't expect that again. He had 18 and 10 in that game and 2 blocks. That's unrealistic for him, but with, like you said, with Jay Crowder out, he will get those minutes and he can put up some production, and that's a very cheap price for that. And if Cam Payne sits, I think you can look at Javon Carter. Last game he had almost 24 DraftKings points, and he's at 3,200. That's almost minimum price and he would be the backup point guard. But you would have to check on if Cam Payne is going to play for him. How you feel about the Suns, Santino?
Yeah, and we're mostly on board. And before Will and I went on, we know that we talk a lot, so we're trying to cut our time down and give you guys a quicker of a podcast here. But yeah, I don't mind Devin Booker. I probably won't have much exposure to him. Just looking at the other names that are a little higher priced on here that I really like. So I probably won't go there, but I don't hate him. He'll be in range for me on occasion. But I'm with you, and for the most part, I like Bridges. I think this is a good matchup. First time he played them, he did really well. The Cavs are beat up, and he's going to play whether it's a blowout or not. Torrey Craig, you mentioned. Jay Crowder's out, so I like him and Saric. Craig's been getting a lot of the minutes there, so I lean towards that $500 extra towards him. But like you said, I don't think he's going to get another 18 and 10 double-double, but he still has upside to bring you back value there at that low price tag under 4K. Same with Saric. Even if he plays 20 minutes, he's in a good position there. And I like your call with Javon Carter. If Campaign is out, Carter's going to see extra minutes there. And due to the mismatch of the Suns versus the Cavs, he could get extra minutes in that contest as well, just because the nature of the game dictates it. So I'm with you with these cheaper value plays there. And if you have to go someone higher up, Devin Booker's an option, but not one that I really want to go to.
Yeah, sounds good. You started off on the Cleveland side because I don't have that many options for them tonight.
And yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't really have many options that I want to go with on Cleveland either. The one guy I might take some stabs on, and that's just, and when I say that, it's very lightly. It's the last Jedi. If you heard earlier what I said, May the 4th be with you. It's Star Wars Day, and the Last Jedi, it fits that description. I'm reaching very much for this one, but he had a big game in the last one, nearly a triple double, 15, 11, and 7. With no Garland again, he should get more minutes. He gets more ball handling opportunities. The team does not like Colin Sexton's hero ball, I guess you can call it, because he doesn't really move the ball a lot. Without Nance, Kevin Love's on his last leg there. Last set is pretty much no Deladova, no Garland. He's pretty much the Sato point guard there. And if I'm going to go with someone, I want to go with someone who has the usage and has the ability to put up decent numbers on a cheap price tag. So that's the only person I'm really looking at here. And I don't know how much exposure I'll get. Probably some because of the Star Wars reference.
Yeah, he has to go off now. But yeah, that's one of my two guys, is Cedi Osman. He doubled his minutes with Garland out from 19 to 38. So that production should be there again. And I do like Colin Sexton, even though the team's kind of lashing out on him, kind of having a overthrow or something. I'm sure you can use a Star Wars term for that. But last game he had 49 DraftKings points, 25 and 8 assists. And with as long as Garland's out, which he is, Sexton has. I mean, who else does he have to pass the ball out? You just named it. It's like 8 people out for the team. So even if he wanted to show the team he's not a selfish player and he'll get everyone else involved, there's no one else to get involved. So I can see him easily putting up 45 to 55 DraftKings points again. So I think he is a good play. But that's it, Sexton and Osman.
All right, man. Now we're on the same page pretty much in these first 2 games here. But
yeah,
now,
I don't like it.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't going to say it, but well, it is what it is. Well, here we're going to disagree here. We have to. But the second game of the night is your Charlotte Bobcats at the Detroit Pistons. We do not have a spread for this one, but we do have an injury report. We have Devontae Graham, Gordon Hayward, and Cody Martin all out. And the Pistons are on the back end of a back-to-back, so we do not have an injury report for them. They lost on Monday to the Magic at home. It's just a wild guess on who's actually going to be suiting up for them. So that's going to be a lot of ifs, ands, or buts. We'll try and do our best, but not be crazy about it. But I'll throw it over to you. How you feeling about your Bobcats now that LaMelo Ball is back?
Put some respect on my team. But no, I think with LaMelo back, that kind of evens things out for everyone. Even though Devontae Graham is going to be out, I think it makes it a little bit trickier to play Rozier. His production went down last game. He only had 25 DraftKings points. So that's a little scary to play him, even though his price is pretty good at 7,300. So you can consider him, but I wouldn't force it. And LaMelo at 7,100. his first 2 games back from after being out almost 2 months, 36 and 36.5 DraftKings points. So I think he's a safe play because his production could go up from there. He has a higher ceiling. And I look at PJ Washington at 6,500 just because it's a decent price point. It's nothing flashy, but it's a pretty safe play. And if you want to take a big risk, I think you can look at Bismarck Diombo. He's down at 3,000, and he's not a great player or anything, but 2 games ago he almost had 30 DraftKings points, and that's just because, and that was against Detroit. So it's the same matchup. They need someone to guard. The rookie? Oh my God, for Detroit, Isaiah Stewart. He's a big body. Cody Zeller's not going to hang with him, so it's easy to see Diombo putting up great production for you at 3,000. Who you like on my Charlotte Hornets?
Beef stew. Yeah. So the Pistons they play slow. I mean, they're obviously a bad team, and they're clearly tanking and just letting their rookies run wild for the most part. But they're not a terrible defense. That said, Hornets play fast. Hornets play loose. And I do like a couple other more expensive guys. LaMelo he came back and played 28 and 30 minutes on both ends of a back-to-back. So I don't think there's really any restrictions there. He looked pretty good for his price tag. I don't know if the upside's there yet because he's still getting into the swing of things. But that's not a bad price tag to get value back and to get your money's worth from him until once he catches up to gets his conditioning down and gets the game comes back to him. So I don't mind going there for 7-1. I don't mind going Miles Bridges either, especially if Grant doesn't play. It's a pretty good matchup there. And Bridges plays a lot better when Ball's in the lineup and when they're playing together. He just runs the floor, makes a lot of cuts, and LaMelo sees everything. So I like those 2 guys. I'll see who Detroit actually has in the lineup tomorrow before I make a decision on if I want to spend up there. But as of right now, I do like both of them. I do like Jalen McDaniels. Without Cody Martin, he's probably going to get extra minutes. I know he played 27 on the back end of that back-to-back after Martin left. And at 4.6, that's not a bad price tag. He was a little over 5 not too long ago. Maybe he grabs the start in this one and don't mind going there. And Malik Monk at 4.3. He's same thing with LaMelo. He came back, played both ends of a back-to-back. I didn't expect that to happen so quickly. Played 22, 27 minutes without Cody Martin, extra minutes available. So I think there's a couple guys I like in this matchup too. I don't know if I really want to go the big Biombo or Zeller. I don't mind taking a chance on one of them if one of them does draw the start. But I know that Borrego kind of is very wishy-washy with the center spot outside of BJ Washington.
Yeah, so you can no longer call my team the Charlotte Bobcats anymore because you literally select everyone on the team. So I don't want to hear it no more.
All right, I agree. I like it. I hear it. All right, man. And we'll jump on over to the Detroit Pistons. I'll take them first. We'll keep doing that. And as of right now, I honestly, it's too early to actually know who is even playing on this team. We saw that Grant, Plumlee, Joseph, Ellington, Magruder, Okafor, Dennis Smith Jr., they all missed this last one. And Diallo, back end of a back-to-back, doubt he plays. He had a pretty good game too. Killian Hayes, back end of a back-to-back, can't count on him playing. All the people that just didn't play could play, but I don't know if they will play. It's like they're in such tank mode, and they're just like any mini miny mowing pretty much on who's actually going to suit up for a game, especially on the back end of a back-to-back. So it's very hard for me to depict who's going to play, but I'll quickly go ifs, ands, or buts. Grant, if he plays, 6,600 is very cheap, and I really like him. If he's playing, I expect him to play near 30 minutes at this price tag in an up-tempo matchup. You can sign me up for him. Isaiah Stewart, if Mason Plumlee doesn't play, 6,300. You mentioned it. There's not a big on the other team that really matches up with him physically wise or his physicality. I like that. If Mason Plumlee does play, I don't really want to go to either of them. I don't know how many minutes Plumlee is going to play or what the case may be. Sadiq Bey is not a bad choice, but I'd rather go Grant if he plays $600 more. And then I guess if Corey Joseph plays, because I don't expect Killian Hayes to play, 4,900, he's probably going to get a lot of run. Yeah, don't mind going there. And then honestly, those are the guys I'm looking at right now, and then it's wait and see if any of this makes sense tomorrow with their injury report.
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it. I will say if Jeremy Grant is it Jeremy Grant or it's Jeremy Grant? Golly, I mess it up every time. If Jeremy Grant does not play, I think you definitely can play Sadiq Bey at 6,000. He had 26 and 9 today. So, I mean, that's an incredible fantasy stat line. So he'll produce for you. And same for Isaiah Stewart. Like you said, it's on the back-to-back. So hopefully they'll rest Plumlee. But, yeah, other than that, you got to wait to see who's all going to play, before tip-off. So I think Killian should play. He's a rookie. He's been playing, for a while now. But, yeah, we just got to wait and see for them. But I love Sadiq Bey regardless.
Yeah, this is a rematch from a couple days ago. Bey had a really good game too, but I know they haven't really played Killian Hayes on back-to-back, so that's the only thing that I'm nervous about. But, yeah. I mean, they could wake up tomorrow and change their mind completely. So I don't really know what the Pistons have in mind.
Yeah. Did you mention Frank Jackson?
I didn't, because I don't – not that I don't like him, but if they're bringing back these guys that missed the last game, like if Wayne Ellington, Grant, Plumlee, they're all suiting up, I'm not going to go Frank Jackson. If they are, again, beat up, then it depends on who's getting that start at point guard. Because I would probably play Corey Joseph or Killian Hayes over him at similar price tags. If one of them's out, I mean, I don't mind looking Frank Jackson, but it all depends on who's in the lineup.
Right. I mean, keep an eye on him because he could start. You never know. Game on May 1st, he had 25 and 7. So, like you said, Detroit is just a crapshoot. So
they're a dumpster fire right now, but they do have good young talent. We just don't know when it's going to shine. They're playing them a lot more than they aren't right now, but you never know.
For the ones standing guard, for the eagle-eyed, for the knights in shining armor, and for all those who support them, we are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, clickgrainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's silly season here in the NBA for the teams that are bad.
Definitely.
Right, man. And now we'll jump on over to what is sure to be the game of the night, a rematch from the other day. It is the Brooklyn Nets at the Milwaukee Bucks. We do have a spread for this one. The Bucks are 2-point home favorites, and it's a whopping 243 over under. A whopping, I'll say that one more time, a whopping 243 over under. We have on the Nets, Chris Chiozza, Spencer Dinwiddie, James Harden all out. On the Bucks, we have Jeff Teague as out and Bobby Portis as probable. I'll throw it over to you on the Nets side, and let's see if we're still on similar pages. But who do you like on this side of the ball?
Well, I mean, I love Kevin Durant. He's probably my favorite player of the night at 9,300. His last two games, 64 and 62 drafting points. So it's kind of like you're getting Giannis level at 1,400 discount. But you could always consider Kyrie since there's no Harden. But just at that 300, he's 300 more than KD. You have to just consider KD, in my opinion. I wouldn't play both of them. And the only other guy I'm considering is Blake Griffin at 4,800. He's been solid lately, and that's a decent enough price. And, he can get 30 drafting points depending on the game. I think they'll need them. Some games they were giving DeAndre Jordan DMPs. So with everyone healthy, except for Harden. So that could potentially happen again. You just never know. But I think it's a pretty good price point for Blake considering what he can give you. But that's all I would consider for Brooklyn. How about you?
Yeah, I'm with you. KD is playing a lot of minutes last couple games, and he looks like himself. I think that's all you need to say. He looks like himself, which is fantastic. 9,300, very good price tag. You're getting a superstar with a slight discount. And I, outside of him, don't mind Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, but it's pending for me if Nick Claxton does play. Because if Claxton does play, that's going to take a couple minutes from each. And like you said, I don't even know if Jordan plays if Claxton plays. And Blake Griffin only played 18 in the game against the Bucks the other night. So I guess some more minutes will be up for grabs or up for the taking if Claxton plays. But if he doesn't, I don't mind either of those guys at their respective price tags. I think they both can bring back value there. But that's something that I'm going to keep an eye on. And hopefully we have that news. I know he was ready to go active. He just didn't get into the game. Maybe it changes this one.
Yeah, definitely something to consider.
But yeah, that's it for me too. Just those guys. And I'm going to flip it over to the other side of the ball, and I'll take the Bucks. I'm similarly in same spot here. I like Giannis. Him and KD had a battle, went back and forth in the last game. I expect that to happen again. These are two guys that see this matchup and take it personally and want to show up one another. I expect it to happen again. And I'm ready to, or I don't mind paying 10-7 for Giannis. I mean, it's Giannis. You know the floor is safe there. Like you said, you get the discount with KD, but you can play, if I'm playing, you can stack this game and play both of them. And a guy like Chris Middleton's not bad to look at. DiVincenzo's not bad for me. If Bobby Portis is ready to play and a decent amount of minutes, don't mind him either. But I think for me, it's Gian. How do I get Giannis in this lineup? If I don't have the money, then I'll look at some of these other guys.
Yeah, Giannis is a great play, always, pretty much. And Chris Middleton has been on a really hot streak his last 3 games. And, his last game was against Brooklyn, and he had 56 drafting points. So if he can come anywhere close to that production he had last game on May 2nd, that's a lock for you. I think you can always consider Drew Holiday also. His last 2 games have not been the best, but against this bottom-feeding defense of Brooklyn, I think you can always consider using him at 8,100. You wish the price was a little bit lower, but, as a contrarian play, Drew Holiday has a good matchup. But, yeah, that's all I would consider from Milwaukee, the big 3.
I like it. The big 3. This is going to be a fun game to watch again. And I think they are higher scoring in this one, as the spread indicates. But let's flip on over to the next game of the night. And it is the first game that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, first of 3. We have the Dallas Mavericks visiting the Miami Heat. We do not have a spread for this one, but we do have an injury report. For the Mavs, we have Tyrell Terry out, Kristaps Porzingis doubtful, Maxi Kleber questionable. For the Heat, we have Oladipo and Tyler Hero as out, and Andre Iguodala as questionable. I don't know why I did that, but I was just in the mood. None of these teams are on any of the back ends of a back-to-back or front end. We only have 2 more teams that are left to go on there. We'll get to them soon. But I'll throw it over to you, man. How are you feeling about this Dallas side of the ball?
Not that great. Just because Miami is the 7th rated defense this year so far. And that makes me a little hesitant to play Luka, especially because he is the highest priced player of the night at 10,800. He obviously can hit that value, but it's a risk going up against this team when you have Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, even Kendrick Nunn can put some. They got a lot of bodies to throw at him. So you obviously can always use Luka, but I would be a little weary. For me, I think Josh Richardson at 4,400 or Tim Hardaway at 4,900 would be the play. You just have to, draw a straw and pick which one you think is gonna, have the better game, because it really can go either way. Tim Hardaway has the higher ceiling. He recently had a 51-52 DraftKings point game. But Josh Richardson is in there going to be getting 25 to 30 minutes also. So, and he's 500 cheaper. So, it's not great for Dallas for me. There's no lock. You can avoid the whole team, honestly, or you can take a shot. How you feel about Dallas? I have no confidence in them.
Yeah, I probably won't have much shares of Luka just because I really liked that game before it. Like you said, I mean, anytime you're looking at these superstar level guys, it's when you have to cut some people out of your lineup or your player pool, or you can only have 8 of them. You only have $50,000 to spend. Not that don't like them, but I just prefer the alternatives. But if Porzingis doesn't play and Kleber doesn't play, we could take a look at the front court. I don't love the matchup against Born on a Bayou, but if a guy like Willie Cauley-Stein is going to draw the start and play 30 minutes at bare minimum value, yeah, I'll grab that. Maybe Dwight Powell probably draws the start at 3,300. I don't mind either. I think they're going to chop the minutes, and as bare minimum value, you can throw some darts there. Don't mind Tim Hardaway Jr. or Dorian Finney-Smith if Porzingis is out. But if the team's fully healthy, I'm probably not really playing many people in this matchup. But again, I don't mind throwing some shots at these mid-level towards value type guys. But that's pretty much it. I don't really want to spend too much money or have too much exposure here.
Willie Cauley-Stein burned me. He burned me so bad in my fantasy playoffs. So don't do it. I wish they would just give Boban minutes. I mean, he had 8 and 7 last game, 8.7 boards. No one can really stop him, honestly. So
Boban should be the unicorn, not Porzingis, because he plays very rarely, and when he plays, he just puts up fantasy numbers.
Very true, very true. But it's hard to trust Dallas, so we can move along to the Miami side. Who are you feeling on the Miami side?
We'll throw it on over to the Heat side, to the other side. I don't, I don't really. Bam. If I'm going to spend up for one of the two guys between Butler and Bam, I would rather play Bam. I think he's just safe floor, and the matchup is nearly screaming kind of easy for him. Kleber and Porzingis are both questionable and doubtful in this game, so he's going to go up back up front court. So I like him there, but at the same time, I'd rather spend my money up in some of these other games if possible. So I'm not really too into that. I don't mind going Goran Dragic at 5,100 or Duncan Robinson. I never really played Duncan Robinson, but this is a game where he can get some open threes, and that's when I'll look to target him. I probably won't have much exposure to him, but he's just on the edge of my player pool there. But outside of that, really not looking at anybody. If you want to take another value guy, Trevor Ariza is very cheap, and he's playing a rock solid amount of minutes. But this is a game I think is going to be slower paced. Not too many people with big time upside in a slower paced game and more defensive matchup. So I'm probably just not going to have much exposure to it in general.
Yeah, for me, like I agree with what you said. Either Butler or Bam, and Bam is probably the safer play. But I could see Jimmy wanting to show up Luka. He got asked a question from a reporter about, the slate of tough games coming up, and he pretty much talked junk about that and said, you consider that tough? That's not tough to me. So I think he's going to want to show out against Luka because Luka gets all the publicity and Butler doesn't really, even though he's deserving. So I think you can look at the only other guy you didn't mention, probably Kendrick Nunn. He's going to get, he's been getting around 36 minutes for the last 2 weeks here, averaging 36 minutes. So that's great. He's been averaging around 20 points a game also. So he's a safe play, and especially with Tyler Hero out, I think it's safe to play him at 5,700. But yeah, either Jimmy or Bam, and then you can consider Kendrick Nunn. That's about it.
All right, man. Feeling that. All right, we'll jump on over to the second game at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Golden State Warriors at the New Orleans, the real Hornets.
See how many guys you pick from the Pelicans. We'll see.
The real Hornets. We don't have a spread for this one, but we do have an injury report. And the Pelicans are on the back end of a back-to-back, so nothing for them. Oh, no. I stand corrected. The Warriors have not yet submitted their official injury report either, so we're heading into this one blind. But we can look at who was out in the last one. Kelly Oubre, they said he's dealing with a big injury. It's worse than they thought, so I would consider him doubtful. Then you got James Wiseman's out. Damian Lee's been in the protocols. Eric Pascal's almost back, but I don't know yet. And Klay Thompson's out. And on the other side, Naw has been out for a while. Steven Adams, I would say, is questionable. He missed Monday's game. And Josh Hart's not going to be back, so we'll go with that. But I'll throw it over to you on the Warriors side. How you feeling about this matchup?
Pretty good matchup. I think it's safe. A couple of games ago, they got blown out, to Dallas. I don't think they would be in risk of that for New Orleans. So I think that makes Steph pretty safe to play at 10,400. Obviously it's a huge slate, so you don't have to force him in your lineup. That's a little high for him, but he can always put up those MVP numbers. And then you can look at Draymond at 7,100. He's going to want to show up Zion, I'm sure. So that'll be a fun matchup. And you can look at Bazemore at 5,400. He's been playing really well with Oubre out, getting more minutes lately. He's a safe play, probably a better play than Kendrick Nunn at this point, but they're probably close. But and you can look at Wiggins at 7,200, but I think Bazemore could possibly give you the same type of production at 1,800 less. That's all I'm considering on Golden State. How about you?
Yeah, and I think Curry would be he's in play for me. I would prefer him to Luka, and he would be my fallback for Giannis. I like those two guys at the top of the card the most. This is just a very good matchup. The Pelicans play very fast, very loose, and you can certainly attack them from the guard position. So I do like that. Don't mind going Andrew Wiggins if you want exposure to this game at a cheaper price. This is just one of those matchups where everything can go in his favor. They don't really have a lockdown defender on the other side of the ball. Without Josh Hart was their best defender. He's not playing in this one. Outside of that, there's really nobody that can stop anybody in the backcourt. The Warriors also play at a fast pace, so this is just going to be an up and down game. I'm curious to see what this spread would actually be. Probably 235 or so. That might even be less than. It might be a little bit higher than that, maybe 236. Yeah, I don't mind going to either of those guys. They're both going to be in my player pools. And then, depending on if Oubre is in or out, if he's out, Kent Bazemore and Toscano Anderson both get a solid jump there. JTA had one of those random monster games the other game. He had 6 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 5 blocks, and 4 steals. Just one of those awkward but gem type of games. I don't think that's going to happen again, but he's been pretty good. And Kent Bazemore, his price went up to where it's now reflective of where it should have been when he came back from that injury. But, or not injury, I guess, protocols. I'm calling it an injury. But he can still bring back value at it. It's not an excessive price tag, knowing that he's playing a bunch of minutes and Kelly Oubre's out. Outside of that, I think those are the guys I'm looking at. I mean, that's a lot of their lineup, but I would take Bazemore over Toscano Anderson and Wiggins if I didn't want an exposure and can't get to Curry.
Sounds good. You going to start it off with New Orleans, your real Hornets over there?
We'll throw it to the real Hornets here, and we have a changing of the guard, man. Lonzo Ball has overtaken Brandon Ingram for the second highest priced guy on this team. He is in a whopping 8K mark as Brandon Ingram slides down to a pedestrian 7.9K. But, yeah, I don't know if I really want exposure to I just mentioned how high this spread might be, but I don't really want to go in on Zion. There's too many other guys I'd rather pay up for. And if Draymond Green is what he says he is and the best defender of all time, he's going to want to take this personally against this second-year phenom and the monstrous specimen that Zion is. So I'm not going to pay near 10K for him. really want to play Lonzo. I really do, but I'm probably not going to have as much exposure as I want, even though he's playing awesome right now. And this is a solid matchup for him. But at 8K, now it just gives me that, man, it's not the value that I like. And I like saying Lonzo and screaming it, but it's it's up there now. Probably won't have much of Ingram either. If I'm going to play one of those two, I'd rather just play Lonzo. I'm probably not going to play really anybody. Maybe Hernan Gomez at 5-1 if Adams is still out, because that's a rock solid value there. But if Adams is in, 4-6, take Adams. But outside of that, the price tags are there's not much that I like for these price tags. Not that I don't like these guys.
Okay, listen, Santino. I got a question for you. Okay, you're considering Lonzo, but you're thinking he's a little too high. Who would you consider between Lonzo, Colin Sexton, and Drew Holiday?
Out of those three, I would rather have Lonzo.
Right. So he's a little high, but compared to some of the other point guards at his price range, you still can consider him, I think. Right?
Yeah, but I didn't mention any of those guys either.
I'm just saying, people are going to be considering around that price point. Oh, I only have 8,500 left. Who should I choose? And they might can squeeze them in their lineup.
Oh, I didn't say that you can't play him. I like him, but I probably won't be having as much exposure as I'd like. But yes, I do like him more than Drew Holiday, and I do like him more than Sexton.
Gotcha. Yeah, because two of the last three games, he's gotten 65 and 68 drafting points. Obviously, if he hits that, it's worth it.
Because Lonzo can't ball.
You just got to worry about those 35 and 40 point games. And, you have been on the Lonzo train this whole time, and I've been knocking him this whole time. But he's finally coming into his own right now. And I think he just needed to be out of the spotlight of LA. He's coming together. Like you said, Zion, if you can fit him in your lineup, you can, but that's a high price. I think you can look at Willie Hernan Gomez, obviously, if Steven Adams is out, because he can easily get you a double-double. And then I think you can look at Najee Marshall at 4,200 because he should be able to fill in and get some production also, especially against this Warriors team who normally have been higher scoring games, So that's about it for me, though.
All right. Yeah, and I like both balls tonight. And those are probably my favorite point guard plays outside of the Super Saiyan Curry tier.
Oh, who would you pick between the Ball brothers?
Now that's a little interesting. If I have the $900 extra, I would go with Lonzo. But $8K is a lot of money to have like lying around at the end of your lineup. So
that's true.
You'll probably more reasonably have 7-1, but you might not have either.
I'm good.
All right, man. Let's throw it onto the second and last game of the night. We have the Sacramento Kings at the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we do have a spread for this one. The Kings are 9-point road favorites.
Okay, Steve, man, I tell you.
Right. The total is 231 for this game. On the injury report, and the Kings are on the front end of a back-to-back. On the injury report for the Kings, we have De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Robert Woodard II, all out. Chimezie Metu, questionable, and Harrison Barnes, doubtful. So 3/4 of the starting lineup is doubtful or out. And then on the Thunder, we have Shea, Muscala, and Pokemon. Oh, no, actually, Shea and Muscala are out, and Pokemon is questionable for this one. He's trying to catch all those last games.
That was a good one.
All right, man. So we'll throw it over to you for the Kings side of the ball. Without their starting backcourt and Harrison Barnes, where are you looking at, knowing that they're also playing the Thunder?
Right. I do think that makes Buddy Hield obviously one of the best plays on this team at 7,300. He should just get all the attempts he would like to see. You can obviously consider Rashawn Holmes. He has not been balling out of control lately, but obviously he has an easier matchup with OKC, and he'll be getting a lot of those center minutes. But, if you haven't noticed, Marvin Bagley has came back. In his last game, he had 40 DraftKings points, 23 points, and 9 boards. So he puts a little damper on Rashawn Holmes. And if you're choosing between the two, obviously you want to choose Bagley if he can put up production like that. And then the only other player I'm looking at is Delon Wright at 5,100. Without the both two starting point guards out, Fox and Halliburton, Delon Wright is in line to get all the assists and points also behind Buddy Hield probably. So those are the 4 I would consider, but you have to choose between Bagley and Holmes. Who are you considering on the Kings?
Yeah, and for me, this is if you're playing a tournament and you want to game stack a random game, this is a possibility for me because the Kings play a very tight rotation, and most of that rotation is out. So they're just going to expand it to a couple people and bring back and more value there. Delon Wright at 5,100, he should be playing point guard, hopefully. That's when he's at his best, when he's playing point guard a lot of minutes at the point guard position and has the ball in his hands. And at 5,100, that's a very good price tag and one of my favorite pay low point guards that were mentioned. The guys that I like up, and he's probably the guy he is one of the guys that I like as the lower point guard. You mentioned Buddy Hield, 7'3". I don't love that price tag, but what his role is going to be, it's not a bad price tag, especially against the Thunder team who are thunderstruck, or they are thundersuck because they just give up points in bunches. It's brutal. I don't mind Bagley at 5K if he's going to play and play a solid amount of minutes there. He came back and played 21, then it jumped all the way up to 34 minutes. I mean, if he's playing 30 minutes at 5K against whatever the Thunder have out there, him and Wright are very good plays. You can look at Holmes, but you can take the discount there. And like I said, this could be a possibility of a game where you stack a couple of these guys in there who are going to be their starters. And there's going to be a fifth starter too, possibly Terrence Davis. Maybe they're just over Mo Harkless. I don't know, but he's another option there. But yeah, I think there's lots to like on this King squad without Fox, Halliburton, and Barnes.
I agree.
All right, man. Let's flip on over to the Thunder side of the ball. Apparently, Lou Dort is in this game. It's not always a certainty. It's just, I don't know, man. The Thunder, I like playing shooting guards against the Thunder. I really don't want to pay $6,100 for Lou Dort, but he does have that random Lou Dort games where he goes off. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't put it past him. But honestly, it's one of those teams that it's just, I don't know. Like, are they going to be competitive? Are they going to be giving up another 130 plus points? Like, what do you guys? It's been since the All-Star break. I think this has been the worst defense of all time. Like, yeah, I'm not saying that lightly. Pokemon might not play, so maybe Kenrich Williams gets the start, 3,700. Don't mind him. Don't mind going Isaiah Roby. I mean, you can't really spend up here because the highest person is Lou Dort. But I would take a couple shots, especially in that game stack scenario, a couple shots. Outside of that, I'm not really too interested of having many one-offs on this team. I guess Bazley is a one-off if you really want, because he scores 20 points, might get 10 rebounds. But there's not a lot of trust or floor on most of these guys.
Yes, there is no trust at all in OKC right now. For me, I had to dig way in the bottom of the crates for two guys that I think you can consider playing. And one is Tony Bradley. Tony Bradley, the center. He's came in and played better than Moses Brown on some occasions, but it just depends on if he gets the minutes. The last game he got the minutes against Indiana in a blowout, he had 31 DraftKings points. Other games, he gets 10 to 15 minutes and does nothing. So you just have to figure if this is going to be a blowout, put him in your lineup. If not, stay away. And, with a lot of players on the Kings out, it might not be a blowout, unfortunately. But the other guy is Gabriel Deck at 3,300. He's only played 3 games with the team. He's an international player, came up from overseas. But his last 2 games, he's gotten 25 DraftKings points. He's averaging between 19 and 24 minutes in those games. And I think he will only get more minutes because they're not trying to run anybody else to death on the team, and they seem to like him. So I think he's pretty much a minimum player that's going to be out there for at least 20, 25 minutes, and he can easily get you 25 DraftKings points. So Gabriel Deck, a name to remember.
Like the Thunder have so many young guys that they're not even when they're benching people, it's like they're not even letting them run wild. They're just timeshare with other young guys. It's super annoying. All right, man. We'll jump on over to the last game of the night. And we have at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Toronto Raptors at the Los Angeles Crippers. The Los Angeles Crips, the Clips. I can't even speak. For the spread, we have the Clippers 8.5-point home favorites, and the total is 221.5. We only have 3 game totals. This is by far the lowest by a whopping 10 points. On the injury report, we have for the Clippers, Beverly, Coffey, Ibaka out. For the Raptors, we have Bobby Boucher, Paul Watson, both out. Gary Trent Jr. and OG Anunoby, doubtful. And by Bobby, I meant Chris, just so there's no confusion. And I'll throw it over to you, man. What are you looking at on this Toronto side?
On the Toronto side, I think you can look at Pascal Siakam. He's been on the downtrodden lately, but last game he had 71 DraftKings points. That was just incredible out of nowhere. 39 points, 13 boards, 2 blocks. That's what you want to see from Pascal Siakam. It's obviously, like I said, out of nowhere, but with Van Vliet questionable and Anunoby questionable, like I said, Boucher is out. If all those 3 are still out, I think Siakam has no choice but to be productive. So I think he makes him a safe play at 7,900. And same thing for Kyle Lowry. Last game he had 63 DraftKings points. And, this was against the Lakers. So against the Clippers, it should be the same type of game, in my opinion. And then you can look at Kim Birch at 5,300. With Boucher out for a while right now, he can easily get you 40 DraftKings points. In a bad matchup, he won't perform. But against the Clippers, I don't think they have anyone that he should be too scared of. They have Cousins and Zubac, and neither one of those are going to shut him down. So I think Birch would be a safe play at 5,300. But that's all I'm liking on Toronto. How about you?
Yeah, I think Birch is a solid play too. Malachi Flynn kind of the floor dropped from underneath him in the last one.
Ooh,
but
yeah, it was terrible.
it was a really bad one, but I don't mind going back to it. Depending, I know as of right now, both Lowry and Van Vliet are not on the injury report, but that seems possibly like it's going to change, especially since the Wizards won again tonight, and that means they are a full 3 games back with about, I think 7 games left. So it's looking very unlikely for them to make the playoffs. So I think one of them is going to sit, if that's possible, especially if it's Lowry. Van Vliet. Either one, actually. I don't mind going to Malachi Flynn. But yeah, I don't think you can discount Siakam at 79. Don't mind it, but there are some people that I like a little bit better. And then we're going to see how they shake out this lineup with Trent and OG already ruled out. Who's going to draw this start at small forward for the most part? Is it Bembry? Is it Hood? That's where I want to look, and that's what I'd like to get to. Hopefully we have an idea before some of these games start because they are a full 2 hours in front. But Nick Nurse usually is open kind of what he wants to do for the most part. So looking at that, and that's where I'll try and get my exposure outside of Birch.
Sounds good. Yeah, I like Freddie Gillespie, but you just don't know about his minutes. So
yeah, I like him as a talent too. I think he's pretty solid. And hopefully, once they officially are like, okay, we can't make up 3 games with 6 left. Hopefully, they give him a lot more run. But we'll flip on over to the Clipper side of the ball, and now that Kawhi's back and under 9K, I don't mind looking at him, but I know he's not 100%. And that's what gives me the pause. If he was 100% at 8.8 and $900 less than Paul George, I'd be all over it. But he only played 30 minutes in that last one. He only took 12 shots, looked pretty solid, but I don't think he's 100% yet. Or maybe he is, but maybe they're not going to push it either. Probably not going to have much exposure on this side of the ball, maybe at all, except if you want, I might take some stabs at DeMarcus Cousins. Even if he's playing minutes in the teens, this guy's putting up numbers, and he's showing he got a lot left in the tank after nobody wanted him for a while. And it's only 3,700, so it won't bite you if he doesn't play 25 minutes.
I do like Kawhi at 8,800 because, 30 minutes is a lot for your first game back after 2 weeks off. And he's had 3 days off since that game May the 1st. So I think he'll at least get 30 minutes. And Kawhi with 30 to 35 minutes should, be productive for you. And like you said, with Cousins at 3,700, he's one of my favorite players of the night also. But no one else I'm really trusting on this team. There's no point of paying up for Paul George with Kawhi back and the other guys in the slate around that price point that are a little more safe. So, and it's a revenge game for Kawhi too. Don't forget that against Toronto. Even though he has no reason to be mad at them, he's gonna want to impress his.
It's a welcome back tour.
Right.
I forgot. I don't mind Rajon Rondo also. I forgot to look at him at 3,600. Another guy bringing back value, starting to hit a stride with this team. And I think at 36, if you're going for a bargain bin, that's a guy you can throw out as well.
That's a good call.
All right, man. That's it. But before we go, let's throw our tiers real quick. And then you give your closing statement, and we can get on out of here. But we'll start with your expensive guy. Who's your favorite expensive player of the night?
I would probably have
3, 2, 1, go. You messed up. So I think mine is.
Go ahead, because you're going to say I
no,
stole your guy.
Kidding. You go. I was joking. Throw me your favorite expensive player of the night.
I would say Kevin Durant at 9,300. Like you said, he went off for over 60 in his last 2 games, and one of those games was against Milwaukee. So 9,300 for KD, great play.
Yeah, and I'm going to go on the other side of the ball, take Giannis, 10-7. If I'm paying up, I like him and Curry. I do like quite a few of these, or a few point guard options, so I'll have more exposure to Giannis, and this game is going to be must-see again, I think. But, all right, man, let's throw it on over to the mid-tier. Who's your favorite mid-tier play?
And that's what's the price range for mid-tiers, just so I'm straight on that?
5 to 8.
5 to 8. See, okay. So I had a little over 8.
5 to 7.
All right. 5 to 8. You said it.
You want to squeeze
I'm gonna go with I think Marvin Bagley at 5,000 will have a great performance against OKC. It's a light work for him, and he had a big game last game, so I think that's a safe play. And I'll go also with Sadiq Bey at 6,000. Like I said, he had 26 and 9 last game, so he should be very productive tonight.
Checks notes.
So,
yep,
yeah.
I said play, not plays. All right.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say I'm sticking into the same game, and then you threw a curveball on me. But I'm gonna go with Delon Wright at 5-1. He should play the majority of his minutes at point guard, if not all. And yeah, sign me up for that. That's when he's at his best, or fantasy best, and at only 5-1 against the Thunder. I don't think there's any way he doesn't hit value here.
Sounds good.
Let's throw it in on the value play of the night. I was going to sneak him in as my value play, but I felt bad.
Value play. I have 2. So do you want to go first?
No, just throw it out there. You always. Well,
we mentioned DeMarcus Cousins has been playing very well lately at 3,700. We just covered that, and I think, like I said, Gabriel Deck at 3,300. I think he's a safe play to get you at least 25 DraftKings points. Who do you have?
All right, I like that. And yeah, there are quite a few guys here, but I think I'm going to stick with Jesus, my throat.
Getting nervous, guys. Getting nervous.
Kind of like your guy in Malik Monk against the Pistons. Knowing that he played both ends of the back-to-back, also knowing that there's no Cody Martin, There's a few extra minutes for him, and no Devontae Graham. And at 4,300, I think it could be one of those games. I know he's also getting his feel for the game underneath him, but it could be one of those games where he scores a rock solid amount of points here. And 4,300, I think that's a rock solid price, not to overdo that rock solidness. All right, man.
Sounds good.
And before we head on out of here, is there anything that you want to close out on?
Just if you're ever doing a fantasy league, make sure that first place is not the only one that gets a prize. Santino. That's all.
Yeah, well, second is just the first loser. That's what
exactly.
That's what Ricky Bobby's dad always told us. So.
I hate You got anything?
No, if you need a napkin, I'll if you need some tissues, I will send them over in the mail. Until the next time, we will see you guys. But thank you guys as always for listening to us, and we will catch you again tomorrow. I believe it is Mike and Keith.
Yeah, Mike. This is going to be the rich guy, Mike, because he's going to win. But anyway.
Yeah, he cheated off his friend and stole his best player for nothing. All right,
but we're not bitter.
We're not better at all. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good night and good luck.
Peace.
All right, I was waiting for that.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.